Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another edition of Unger the Radar, where we talk all things film. And with me tonight is fellow critic and friend to the show, Mr. Matt Roren. Welcome back, sir.
Oh, good to be back.
Long time no see, huh?
Indeed, indeed.
We had fun last night with the Office Space commentary. Did you enjoy yourself?
Of course, I always do.
Good, I'm happy to hear that. And I know that you're always watching stuff. I know you are on what seems like a never-ending quest to see every obscure Disney film ever made.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
watching all things Disney. Um, which I took a little break from the continuity of that to kind of backtrack. I did I threw in all the Lucasfilm stuff. So I
okay.
binged all that up to 19. I pretty much binged everything up to where I was in Disney, and then now I'm watching everything Marvel, including all the old animated series and everything, which is super interesting. um so I've watched all of the 70s 80s Incredible Hulk live action show,
Right.
which I loved. I hadn't seen it since it was on when it aired and I was young, and it really holds up, and it's just like a really well done uh, show. A lot of the cartoons are like pretty good, like when you compare them to the comics.
Okay.
But there's just so many of them; it's exhausting.
They're they're like a watered down version of the 1994 cartoon, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're basically. I mean, you have the 66, 67 cartoons, which is like you have a Fantastic Four one, Captain America, Iron Man, Namor,
Mhm.
Thor, Spider Man, and those are all almost like stills. Like one we're like, "Hello,"
Yeah.
just the mouth moves.
They're
And
just the original cells that the
yeah,
it's just like
and
whatever.
like the storytelling aspect of it is good though.
Hmm.
And then after that, I watched a bunch of those. I watched Spider-Man from 1981, which was right before they became Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Hmm.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
I watched the Spider-Woman cartoon they did,
All right.
which was a weird choice for like them to like a character for them to like do an animated show for, but that
Okay.
was pretty interesting. And I watched the Japanese Spider-Man show and movies,
Uh-oh.
and they're amazing because I mean it's Spider-Man fighting kaiju's. You know, it's like giant robots, and he would get into he drove a Spider-Man car,
Uh-huh. Spider car.
uh, which he would call like if there's a big robot, he would like signal something and his car would come, and then his car would fly into another, like into a robot, and then he would battle in a giant robot.
Was this inspiration for Power Rangers by any chance?
Well, I mean, every like
There was that period of time.
yeah, because I mean, you have Ultraman, you have
Yeah.
like Voltron. There's so like basically all Japanese children's shows
Right.
were basically Power Rangers.
Yeah.
They were all just like the same formula, where
That's-
it's like giant robots, giant monsters.
I want to revisit the one where the live action Spider-Man from I think the mid to late 70s.
Yeah, I watched all those as well.
That was a fun one. Yeah.
It's interesting, and and then the year after that is when they did Japanese Spider-Man.
Hmm.
So it's like you have those two live action ones next to each other. So it's been fun. I still have so many to go. I watched the Doctor Strange made for TV movie, which was pretty cool. I mean, it's not great. I watched the first of the two Captain America movies from the 70s,
Okay.
which was terrible. So bad. And it's like the 90s one was terrible as well. So it's like I'll get there, but
And none of this stuff is on Disney Plus, right?
Well, the Spider-Woman is, and the Spider-Man 81 is, and surprisingly, so far out of everything I've watched, no. Oh, I also watched the Captain America serials from the 40s.
Oh wow.
Which is the first live action or first any Marvel release, because that was even back when they were Timely Comics. And it's great because they didn't even they just had some other story, and they're like, we need to slap a name on it, we'll call it Captain America. So they put an out of shape overweight guy in a Captain America suit and gave him a different name, and he was a reporter. It's basically like Superman, except
it was like a mashup, it sounds like.
Yeah, they gave him a different name.
Yeah.
And Marvel at the time, or Timely, was like, hey, why can't you use his name? And they're like, well, we don't want to. I was like, okay. We already had this stuff and we already recorded it, so we're not gonna waste money. And then apparently the guy who played Captain America ended up dying from a heart attack right after they finished filming.
Jeez.
There's 12 serials.
That's a strenuous production.
It was apparently it was too much for him.
Wow.
And it's you don't get an overweight guy to do a bunch of shit.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, he's not gigantic, but he's definitely not fit. It's like if I was Captain America, it's I'm gonna be dead in a minute.
Well,
they did their own stunts.
Going back to the Lucasfilm Disney stuff, was that was a lot of stuff involving Jim Henson's company, right?
Well, I mean, and there's you have Labyrinth was part of that. I think that's the only one that was. I mean, Labyrinth is mind blowing when you think of the creative team.
Yeah,
because it's you have Lucasfilm, Henson, Brian Froud, an amazing artist, of the concepts, and directed by Terry Jones of Monty Python,
right?
As well as David Bowie, it's
love it.
It's just it's the best of all worlds just thrown into a movie. Lucasfilm is interesting because you got the classics like Willow, American Graffiti 1 and 2, and
Star Wars, obviously,
of course, Howard the Duck.
Before Time.
Yep.
I think American Tail was
Indiana
also
Jones movies. So
what? I'm sorry.
And Indiana Jones, of course.
Oh, of course.
And Star Wars, but obviously.
Yeah, but I think Disney Plus has to add more titles and more shows.
Yeah, I mean they've slowly been doing it, because I've noticed recently that things that I paid $3 to watch on Amazon have shown up on there. But and I'm like, damn it! If only I waited 7 months. I mean they're slowly getting more, but they own so much content. It's amazing they have what they have out already on there, because there's a lot on there.
Yeah,
barely anyone even notices because there's so much.
Yeah,
and it's you can't really skim through it. It's got to be if you're specifically looking for something, you're oh shit, that's there too. I really wish they would put more of the 80s and 90s original films from Disney Channel original films, and the Disney Sunday movie stuff, because it's all they really have from that era is two of my favorites though, Mr. Boogedy and Bride of Boogedy and Fuzz Bucket are on there. But there's you had a weekly TV show that had movies, and all these movies have great casts and whatever, and it's just amazing that stuff's not on. But pretty much any of their made for Disney Channel movies from the 2000s and up are on there.
Yeah. I haven't checked recently, but do they have the weekday afternoon cartoons like Chippendales and
Duck? Yeah. I'm actually currently, I've just finished season 1 of Rescue Rangers and season 2 of DuckTales.
Perfect.
And then Darkwing's on there, Tailspin, Gummy Bears. It's all
when I have kids, and if Disney Plus is still around with that content, they're gonna be subjected to a lot of that
Oh
great
yeah, yeah. Well,
style.
I had been playing. You have one of those Nintendo 620 game things they have now and all the games on it.
Oh,
And I've
wow.
been playing the Rescue Rangers game with my kids. And like
Good.
one of my daughters is really into the show
Is,
now.
is the game good though?
Oh, I love the game. The game's
Okay.
it's a fun platform. Uh, I actually beat 1 and 2. Two I had never played before. One I had when I had Nintendo. Two I guess is a Japanese game.
Okay.
And I just beat that. And then there's a third one which it's like it's not platform. It's just weird. It's
Okay.
I don't really care for
Okay.
it.
Now, this Nintendo you're talking about, it's one of those where it's like all of the games are included in it?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like a tiny little console you get at Walmart for like $50 or whatever.
Hmm.
The only problem with it is that all the really good games aren't on it.
Mhm.
It has
Hmm.
it only has the first Super Mario Brothers. It doesn't have any other ones.
Can you add to it?
Yes, illegally, I think you can.
Okay.
I think one of my friends has done it. He's into programming and shit,
Hmm.
and he re-added all the games to it, which I once this pandemic's over, I gotta have him do because all the games I bought this at the beginning of the pandemic, and all the games I really wanted to play aren't on it. None of the Zelda games are on. The 2 Zelda games not on it. Metroid not on it.
Oh.
Kid Icarus not on it. Mega Man's not on it. DuckTales not on it.
Wait, so and is this the original or the SNES?
The original. I actually also bought the SNES one. I haven't even touched it yet because there's so. I mean, the cool thing is it's got all the Japanese versions and shit. So, like, there's like 19 versions of Contra and RoboCop on there. Different games, but it has the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original Nintendo game. It's got the arcade game.
Turtles in Time?
Yeah. So it's got all those. So it's got a lot of really cool stuff. It's got all like the old classics like Arkanoid and Burger Time, Pac-Man, are on it. But it's like weird. The stuff it's missing is just like oh, you purposely left out like all the things I really really wanted to play.
Tell me though, does it have Tetris?
Yeah, it has Tetris.
Right. That's all I need in my life.
Yeah.
Love that game.
But yeah, it's fun. It's like one of those things where I'm like, I want to like play everything, and I'm like, there's not enough time or whatever to play everything. So I'm like, all right, well, I beat those 2 Rescue Rangers games. Now I'm trying to beat the original Contra. So, but it's like, man, when you couldn't continue in games, it's like
you can save the progress.
Yeah, where it's like, shit, you only get 3 continues.
Yep.
And it's like each time I play, I get better, and I'm like, oh, cool, I made it to like level 5 without even dying once.
I'll tell you, no, that sense of urgency, it really builds your character.
And it's just like like, oh man, for so much. I feel so much harder then because it was like, you couldn't save, you couldn't like.
Yeah, I remember playing. My dad and I were big on Super Mario 3.
Oh, I love it.
And we got to like, I guess like Giant World or Sky World, and we just had to pause it and like not just leave it. So it was just very stressful that
I remember
it's all lost.
I remember like pausing games like you wake up in the morning, you play, you pause it when you go to school,
and
then like you come home, God forbid you come home and like your mom like turned it off,
right
like, but
oh, good times. Good time.
So upsetting when it's like I remember me and my brother stayed up all night once and played Rampage in its entirety, and we beat all the like, God, it was like had to be like 200 something cities.
Okay.
It took forever. And there was no proper ending. It just starts you back at the first city again.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's another level. It's like level 1. You're like, what? Like, no, like, you won.
Huh. That's odd.
I felt so cheated. It's
You-
angering. Urgh.
that's unfortunate. Alrighty. Well, we've got two films today, as usual. And as also as usual, they're very different from one another. But
Yes.
also quite good.
I'm trying to think if there are similarities in this film, and
mm,
there might be.
you know what? There is a little bit of like the subject of time.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
like, they aren't that different, but they are.
right? If you think about it really hard. But the first film is called An American Pickle, and it stars the great Seth Rogen. It's a very strange movie, but I'm so grateful for its existence.
It was absolutely nothing like what I expected it to be.
Oh, really?
Like, it was like I didn't, it's funny because I have a bunch of friends who saw it and were like, "Oh, it's great, watch it." And like I read a couple things that were just kind of like, oh, it's about like Seth Rogen is like an old Jewish pickle salesman. I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna be funny.
Right.
I had no, no, like the first like 5 minutes, I'm like, well, what the fuck?
it's it's an acquired taste. It's not for
Love it.
everybody. If you're a Seth Rogen fan,
Oh yeah,
it's perfect for you.
it's Seth Rogen times two. How can you
Yeah,
not?
exactly. And basically, Rogen. It starts off in 1917, and Rogen plays a Jewish immigrant who basically works in a pickle factory, accidentally falls into a vat of pickles and pickle juice, and basically they seal over it. They seal
They
him in there.
close down the business
Yeah,
literally the minute after he falls in.
they seal him in there, and for apparently for 100 years is untouched, and his body is preserved in pickle juice for 100 years, and he magically emerges from this vat and is in Brooklyn, modern day Brooklyn, and basically he is trying to find any relatives, and he comes across his great grandson, who's also played by Seth Rogen. So you've got a dual character here, kind of like Back to the Future Part 2, that style. And basically, he wants to, make it in America. He's 100 years too late, but he's going to try anyway by opening up his own pickle stand on the streets of Brooklyn. And hilarity ensues. I mean, this movie totally ridiculous, but it's really a lot of fun and pretty endearing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
You know?
there's like, it's very heartfelt.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of messages, like good messages in it. It's so fucking weird. It is a weird ass movie, but I absolutely loved it. I like it's
just
it's
the
like
premise alone.
mind blowing. Like,
Yeah. Like who the hell? How high were these screenwriters? Like when they thought, you know, it's actually based on a short story. By
oh really?
Yeah, called Sellout, which is, I'm not going to give it away, but that's a big part of the plot. And yeah, Simon Rich wrote it, and I don't know, what this guy was on when he thought of this, but I'm glad he did it because it's a great story. It's so
great.
fun.
It's great.
And I think Seth Rogen, I can't think of a better actor to take on this role. I mean,
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's perfect for it. I mean, for both roles.
yeah.
Like,
So he starts out as the European immigrant with a big full beard, and they filmed that part first. Then he shaves for the second part where he plays his great grandson, who's like this. He's an app creator, struggling app creator, entrepreneur.
Brooklyn hipster type.
Yeah, but they're really very similar, the characters, because they're both kind of lost. They want to start their own business, and they're kind of struggling, and we're right there with them on this little adventure. And I'm really glad this is brought. I think it's one of HBO Max's like originals.
Yeah, it was like one of the first things they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy time, obviously, with the pandemic to release a film. but it's great to have streaming platforms such as HBO Max to deliver great
Yeah.
original content and
Yeah.
interesting stuff to the audiences. So yeah, I'm glad that they released this. It's a great fish out of water comedy, or a fish out of brine comedy.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, also Sarah Snook is in it. She plays the 1917 Seth Rogen's wife, who she's been in a number of other things, and she's just a really good actress in her own right. So yeah, I this, I think this might be on my top 10 for the year for 2020. I think it's that good.
Yeah, it might be landing on there for me too. It's one of those things I still have to compile on my list just
Yeah.
to figure it out. We'll do that another time.
Yes, we will.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like, especially like in the last few years, like Rogan's just been hitting it out of the park.
Yeah.
He's been like so fantastic. I mean, did you, what was the God? What was the name of that movie he did with was it Charlize Theron?
Oh, last year. The Long Shot?
Long Shot.
Yeah.
It was one of those movies that was like so surprisingly amazing. It was like so good.
He's definitely been, it's been hit for the past like 5 to 10 years. He's just been really good.
Yeah.
Trying to think of the first thing I saw.
I mean, I've always been a fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, like since Freaks and Geeks, like
Wow.
Since that aired, I was like, and I went to Columbia University, had a Freaks and Geeks panel.
Okay.
And like all the cast was there, so it was like him and Franco, and it was like,
nice.
It was like so incredible, and like, and I also went to a Mystery Science Theater one there. Some of the best things I've seen.
Nice.
I think Joel Hodgson was at both of them because he's also in Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, that's funny.
And him and Apatow are really good friends.
Did he play a teacher in that?
He played I think he was a disco DJ at the roller rink or whatever. But just like that crew, that OG Apatow group. I'm just like,
I think you call them
came out swinging.
The pre-frat pack crew.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, like, stuff like Super Bad, obviously, and Knocked Up and Pineapple Express, like,
yeah.
Like,
I don't want to mention it, but Green Hornet. I don't know. That was made.
I've still not seen it.
Oh, you know what? It's been a few years, so I think I may have to revisit it. But
yeah, it's been on my list of things to watch.
Yeah,
it's like I would have seen it in theater, but it was gone so quickly.
Yeah.
I just missed it. It was it was also like it came out. God, it was like I think around my second kid. So
okay,
it's my movie going between like the second and third kid. It wasn't like I missed a lot. So
all right,
but
nice.
I was like I just started working in the cinema.
What was the one he did with Joseph Gordon-Levitt where he had
50-50?
Yeah. I think that was the first time I realized that like Seth Rogen kind of has like good dramatic chops.
He does, yeah. No, he does. It's I think wait, was he I can't remember. But yeah, like he's done, and then like the Disaster Artist.
Oh my god, yeah.
The movie they did on The Room. I mean, like,
oh my god, that was so good.
Like,
so good. What was James Franco? Was he like about to be nominated for an Oscar, but then because of the allegations about misconduct, they revoked that?
I don't know if he was nominated for going to be.
Yeah.
But he was nominated for the Globe.
Yeah. Right.
But I do feel like that definitely hurt his chances.
Yeah. He was so good. They were both great.
They were, and as a
And his
creative
younger
team,
brother, Dave Franco.
I love Dave Franco. He's
So
another guy I've just been obsessed with for so long.
it's great. That
Yeah,
whole crew is just, yeah, they can do no wrong, except for the Green Hornet.
but
Uh,
just the
right.
absurdity and like the interview. There's like
Yep.
so many movies they've done that are just like so absurd and so great. Like
Indeed.
I actually just watched the BC Boys did a music video,
Okay.
like a 20-minute video that MCA had written and directed, called Fight for Your Right Revisited,
Okay.
where Seth Rogen plays he plays Mike D. What's his face from Eastbound and Down
Oh, shit.
and Pineapple Express and all those things.
Hold on. I know, it's like the tip of your tongue, right?
Yeah.
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride plays MCA.
Mhm.
And I'm so bad at remembering names right now.
It's okay.
And Elijah Wood plays Adrock, and it's basically like them leaving the video shoot for Fight for Your Right to Party and just like fucking things up.
All right.
And in it, like, it's got a million cameos in it, like, every celebrity from like that time. It was like, like 2011 or whatever. So it's like all the comedians and whatever from that were big in that time.
Sounds like the music video for Ghostbusters, how they threw like Chevy Chase and
where it's like all their friends are in it.
Yeah.
But and then it ends with them running into, of course, coming in the DeLorean, Beastie Boys from the future.
Okay.
Played by Jack Black as MCA, Will Ferrell as Mike D, and John C. Reilly
Oh God,
as Adrock.
that is quite a trio.
Or Will Ferrell is Adrock, but like, Will Ferrell is Adrock, but and it's just like, and then they have a dance battle.
Okay.
Like, to declare who the real Beastie Boys are. It's the most absurd thing ever. It's 20 minutes long.
Wow.
And
I'm gonna look this up later.
It's on YouTube.
Right. What do I type?
Fight for Your Right Revisited.
Okay. This is ridiculous.
20 ridiculous minutes.
I love it.
But it's got like, it's like a bunch of those people in it, and cameos from like David Cross and like Rainn Wilson, and it's like it's just incredibly weird.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna check it out because you've piqued my interest with this. It sounds insane. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. So, Matt, before we go to commercial, American Pickle, do you recommend this to your family and friends?
Absolutely. It's a must see of 2020. Must see.
Definitely. It's on HBO Max now, guys. And if you it's just like a lighthearted, sweet romp. It's something we really need during this time. We're all indoors. We've got a lot of time on our hands. So, why not watch a really decent film, a funny, sometimes serious dramedy that I think the whole family can enjoy. It's really, it's kind of family friendly.
Yeah. It's I can't think of any reason why it's not. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I'd say 3 of my favorite movies this year have been comedies, like just dumb comedies. It's like this movie, Palm Springs, which we also reviewed.
That was good.
And Bill and Ted Face the Music, which it was like 3 movies released to, 2 released to the paid subscription channels, and then 1 that was the rental or buying. And of course I bought it because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch this repeatedly. So Bill and Ted's I bought.
I'm surprised you didn't see Bill and Ted on the big screen. I think it was on there.
I would have loved to. But I would have had to travel out of state to see it at a drive-in, which I tried to do, but most of the days I don't have my kids is the weekdays when they weren't doing screenings, like Monday, whatever. So it was hard for me to catch. I was hoping that when theaters reopened, it would still be playing, but that was not the case. Which is why New Mutants was the first thing I saw when they reopened, because it was like, okay, this came out like the same day and it's still out, so I gotta go see it. But I mean, I would absolutely love to see that on the big screen.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it at all. I
so good.
Yeah, it's on my to do.
It's one of those things where I mean, it could have gone either way.
Yeah,
and it was like the perfect movie we needed right now.
Right. We definitely.
And it was like it's with the trilogy of the Bill and Ted movies, I just see them as like, not like this one's better than the other ones. Like, they're three great, completely different films.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Back to the Future is the same way.
Well, the first one,
1 and 2 are similar.
Yeah,
but like 3 is like a different movie.
And it came out like within months of the second one.
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, did you see
it
it in the theater when it came out, or were you too young?
I was too young for. Yeah, I was 5 when part 3
No,
came.
this was back in the days before the internet, so it was like fucking magic. Seeing the second one in the theater, they ran a trailer for 3 before 2.
Oh, that's weird.
Because they filmed it at the exact same time.
Right.
And seeing I hadn't even heard about 3.
Yeah, that's weird. That's freaky to.
And then it's like,
kid anyway.
like the first trailer they showed is like Back to the Future 3, and you're like, already? Like, I haven't even seen the second one. But
you literally went forward in time.
Yeah. But it was mind blowing. Like, and I kind of missed that too, where the first time you hear about a movie is seeing the trailer in a theater. Now it's like you've already seen the trailer on YouTube 1,000 times before.
I remember as a kid being so excited for the coming attractions. Like,
I mean, I still am, even though I've seen most of them already. Like, I try to never get there late because I always love watching them.
And my mother's like, what are you worried about? It's just the previews. No, we need to be there for that.
It's great. I mean,
Yeah. Because we didn't have the internet so readily available back then.
It's part of the experience. I mean,
yeah. It's like, there's other
awesome,
other awesome stories, other awesome movies out there.
You get you pumped. I mean, I love, like, when I bring my kids, like we just saw Wonder Woman 84, and I chose to bring them on Christmas to the theater to see that, and it's like watching the trailers with my kids. I just love when we watch a trailer, and then when the trailer ends, my kids turn to me and go, I want to see that. Like, I just love that feeling.
That's
like,
what I did to my mom.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, mental list. When this comes out, we're all gonna see it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back with more film reviews right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6633.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Randy Unger, Under the Radar with Mr. Matt Roren. And we're almost there, guys. Almost there. We got one more movie, a very big movie. This is a $205 million production. It is Christopher Nolan's latest epic. It's called Tenet, and probably one of the most confusing plots I think ever put to screen. And it follows, I'll give you the really short version of the premise. Basically, Tenet follows a young secret agent played by John David Washington, Denzel's son, who comes across a very unique phenomenon. And it's basically, it's not time travel per se, it's time inversion. And basically, it's a very simple story about a secret agent trying to fulfill his mission, and he comes across sort of a femme fatale, and Kenneth Branagh plays this generic Russian villain, kind of what you would see in a Bond film, and this time inversion plays a major role in the film's plot, where basically you can jump into the past 10 minutes or even 10 years. It's a very strange film. It's very ambitious for Christopher Nolan. He wrote and directed it, and again, I don't know what he was on when he wrote this, but it's an ambitious film, and the visuals are phenomenal, as in are all of Nolan's films. So I wanted to really like this movie. I wanted to so bad, because there are a handful of Nolan films that I do love. This one I don't love. I like it in a way. I like what he tried to do, and the actors in it are pretty good. I think Kenneth Branagh was a perfect villain, and I loved watching him every time he was on screen. He was chewing up the scenery. It's very frustrating, because it's a movie you want to really love, but it's like, eh. And I saw it twice, so it probably warrants more viewings, in my opinion. But yeah, for right now, it's on the radar, but it's not really it's on there, but it's faint. But Matt, what did you think?
I mean, it's kind of, I pretty much hold every Christopher Nolan movie in the same thing, because I don't really love any of his films. I would say Batman Begins I love.
Yeah.
I would say the rest of his catalog are movies that are fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, they are great to watch.
Right.
Because the motherfucker knows how to make a movie.
Yeah.
He does. How to shoot a movie. And he, how to make it look as beautiful as it can be. He knows everyone that he should be casting. It's like the cast is always good. It looks great. The first two acts are incredible, and the third act always falls fucking flat.
Yeah.
Like, it's like every third act of his is like, I just gave up. And it's like, honestly, I thought like Interstellar was going to be the first one of his movies I loved.
Yeah.
I was like, oh damn, this is it. And then the third act once again was like, nah, later.
I'll tell you, with I liked moments of Interstellar, and I love the parallels, kind of like the inspiration of like the 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much about it I love.
Yeah. And Zimmer's score, always great.
I mean, Zimmer's score like made my fucking ears bleed. It was perfect.
I hope.
In Interstellar, I mean, I saw it like 70 millimeter.
Nice.
And it was like it was so loud that it was like shaking my head. Really? And it was like, because half of his score in that is like jet engine noises, like takeoff noise. It's like,
or like there was a really intense like organ motif.
Yeah, and it's like, I thought my teeth were gonna shatter. I thought my ears were gonna bleed. I thought my eyes were gonna bleed. I love Hans Zimmer. I mean, it's the only thing I liked about Dark Knight Rises.
Oh yeah.
Besides Scarecrow, who's best part of all the movies.
Yeah.
besides him, in his like 5 seconds on screen, Hans Zimmer like was the best part of that movie.
They should have just stopped at The Dark Knight, because I think Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were just great 2 films.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
third one just seems like, let's make more money. Like, forget
yeah,
the
I feel
story.
like he had. I mean, it's like, there's so many people like, oh well, Heath Ledger was supposed to be in it because Joker's supposed to come back. It's like, why? Why would you make a movie like? It's like you have all these villains. Why
Yeah.
would you purposely think, oh well, Joker's gonna be in 2 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a waste. And
Yeah.
then even more of a waste, you bring Bane in. Give me a break. I'd rather see Clayface. Like, I mean, Bane is like the most miserable excuse for a villain ever.
I know.
And like
Oh.
honestly, like, it's like I almost think that, and nothing against what's his face who played Bane,
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy,
Yeah.
who is a great actor who just
Yeah.
happens to do performances I absolutely hate.
Yeah, he was
That and Venom, I like. I don't blame him because he's great, but
Yeah.
those roles are both things that made me hate movies.
Yeah.
And I still don't blame Tom Hardy. I just don't want him in any more comic book related films.
Right.
It's like, you just go do something else.
Well, he's done a bunch of things, but yeah, I haven't really seen him in anything like a decent, like, dramatic role where he like
My
really.
favorite thing I've seen him in was it was called Lock,
Okay.
where the entire movie is him in a car on the phone.
Which is the one? Doesn't one where he plays? It's 2 characters, but he plays both of them, like brothers.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, me neither. I think I heard decent things about that one. But,
Yeah,
but back to Tenet.
yeah. I mean,
it's ridiculous. It's
I visually stunning.
yeah.
And I love, Washington was great. Pattinson was great. Branagh was awesome. I just, it's like all of his films leave me with that, like, I want to love it. It's like as someone who loves film, I want to love it, and I love so many of the elements to it, but
Yep.
it's the stories I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like people always like get really upset when I say how I was disappointed with Inception. I mean, I
Inception is a masterpiece compared to Tenet.
Definitely. I mean, it's one of his better films.
Yeah.
And it's a great movie. It's just like, I don't think it's as great as everyone says it is.
Right.
But I feel like people were just saying it because it was like, I like art films. Like, it's like, okay.
I like movies that screw with your head. Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
It's like, it's crazy. I'm like, yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah. And I think Nolan was trying to like recapture that magic with Tenet.
But this movie was very much a like, I'm trying to get back to that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, my movie that everyone talks about all the time and doesn't stop talking about. I want that again. I want that feeling again.
He's basically trying to go back in time himself to recreate that. I mean,
maybe that's how he came up with the concept.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he was actually trying to develop a way to go back.
Yeah.
He wrote
this. He's writing what we're saying right now.
Yes.
That's his next movie.
But it's just his dream.
Yeah. Not real, or is it? So this movie was delayed 3 times. Got some trivia here. Delayed 3 times because of the pandemic, and basically, production budget of $205 million. Nolan's most expensive original project, and they actually did crash a 747 airplane into a hangar.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sort of a spoiler there, folks, but you'll see it when you see it.
Well, now we know where half of that cost went.
Yeah. And you know what? I read that another critic said that John David Washington was an okay hero, the protagonist, but kind of bland, which I totally agree with. I mean, as you guys probably know, he's Denzel Washington's son, and he's sort of trying to follow in his dad's footsteps. I don't think he's really cutting it.
There's only one Denzel.
Yeah, I mean,
And Denzel is one of those dudes who he's one of the best in the biz.
yeah,
And he is like, God, I mean, even his bad movies, he's really great in.
oh yeah,
Not that I can think of any of his movies that are bad, but like,
right,
but like, he's always like,
on point.
on point. I mean, like, I think Philadelphia was the first time I really noticed him.
Oh wow, I think the first one, Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide. I
Yeah.
still haven't seen that.
Oh my god, so
But
good.
like Philadelphia, I mean, like what, like I was like, wow, what, and it was like that, and then like was Fallen was like the next movie I saw. Like,
Yeah, that's cool.
I just like,
You know what?
I love his stuff.
What's interesting about Tenet? So you've got Denzel's son in this about time travel. Denzel himself actually did a movie a couple years back, 2006. It's called Deja Vu, directed by Tony Scott, and it also dealt with like time jumping technology to solve a crime. So I think that's a much better movie. It's a little more straightforward and fun. So yeah, guys, I say see Deja Vu. It came out in 2006. It's a little bit better than Tenet. Deja Vu starring Denzel Washington. But yeah, it's my plug for a 15-year-old movie. But back to Nolan. So I sort of binge watched a bunch of his movies in the past couple days in preparation for tonight. Yeah. I figured like
it's a lot of work.
I know, because these are movies that I saw when I was younger, and I wanted to both refresh my memory and see if there were things that kind of went over my head, because he likes to confuse audiences and trick them. But Insomnia was relatively straightforward. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I mean it's a solid film.
Yeah, and
I mean,
you can't go wrong with Pacino and the late great Robin Williams.
I mean, him playing a bad guy.
Yeah,
is pretty awesome.
He did that in Insomnia and 1 Hour Photo in the same year.
Well, yeah, and 1 Hour Photo is like a different kind of villain, really. I mean, it's such a psychological. I mean, that movie is.
Yep.
Definitely my like top 50 films. I absolutely love that movie.
Cool. I'll have to revisit that too.
He's such a creep in it. It's like, that year was just amazing for someone who always plays this lovable, like overactive, like man boy.
Peter Pan, for God's sakes.
Yeah, exactly. And just to be a bad guy for a year.
All year pretty much.
Yeah.
And back to Interstellar. Interstellar was really good. Parts of it, Yeah. I've never really liked Matthew McConaughey in anything except for Dallas Buyers Club.
Same here. Yeah.
And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I haven't seen that one. Dallas Buyers Club I really liked him in.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, it's also the only movie I've ever liked Jared Leto in.
Interesting.
It made me like both of them, and then after seeing them in other movies after that, I was like, although Mud was really good.
Okay, I think I saw parts of that. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
and he, like The Gentleman, was fantastic, but I mean, not based on McConaughey. He's probably the worst part of the movie, but he was still very good.
I went into Interstellar thinking, oh, it's McConaughey.
Yeah.
But you know what? He sort of won me over. He was pretty perfect for the role.
Yeah.
So that was good. Of course, Memento, classic.
That's probably the only one I've rewatched recently. I watched it maybe a year and a half ago. And that was like, that is like first.
That was I think his second feature.
Oh, right.
I didn't see his first one. Yeah, but you know what? Funny thing about Guy Pearce in that, he was rumored to play Batman, Bruce Wayne in.
Yeah.
I think that would have been an interesting choice, but I'm glad they went with Bale.
Me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you know, that's like one of those movies where the concept was good and the you know it was done well. It was like, and it's kind of like I feel like the only time that the Nolan formula has worked,
Mm,
where
yeah.
like it really like it pays off, like where it's like it's his kind of film
Right.
that like, but it's like it has a beginning, middle, and end that makes sense.
Right. It's tight. It
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
because it's shorter than I think it's under 2 hours as opposed to Tenet, which is 2.5,
Right.
which is ridiculously long for me anyway. I don't really like long movies. I think Memento was the perfect length. I think the cast was perfect as well. The story was really good. I think the editing is what really makes it an all-star film.
Yeah,
So,
it's a fantastic movie.
yeah. Okay, and also another Nolan one, The Prestige.
I have not seen yet.
Okay.
I hear very good things though.
Yeah, you've got Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. They played rival magicians, and they
There was
based
also the year of the magician movie because
yeah, The Illusionist
came
came.
out that year.
Yeah,
And I always get the two of them confused. That's what Ed Norton.
Ed Norton's The Illusionist.
Yeah, and I always get them confused, and it's like I'm like, oh, that Christopher Nolan movie. And people are like, no, and I'm like, what? It's like, oh, they came out the same year, right?
Yeah,
Competing magician movies.
and that also had a twist ending. So I recommend that, The Prestige, not the. I didn't see The Illusionist, but I love Norton. I think that'd be great. Um, so yeah, it's really it's really frustrating with Tenet, man. I mean, this it's such a promising idea, time
Yeah,
looping, time inversion. But the way that that Nolan went through with it, it just I don't know.
it's like weird too because, like, although the movie was put off 3 times,
Right.
I still feel like it was rushed
Interesting.
because it's like
Hmm.
I feel like it was like I mean you heard about it for a long time.
Yeah. I remember
And like
I saw the trailer in theaters for something back in like late
like a
2000.
year ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like I just feel like but I feel like he was like really like dead set on releasing it on this date, and then it was like it's coming out definitely, and then it was like no, and then it was like okay, well then definitely this. I like honestly I feel like I don't know. It's either he rushed it towards the end or he gave up on it. I don't know which.
No, I think Warner Brothers probably pressured him into it to just push it out as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's probably taking too long. Like
You
you
know,
already crashed a fucking plane.
he's a great. I don't know if he's editor on it, but the editing could have, been again. My main thing is tightening. A movie has to be tight and
Yeah.
interesting and visually stunning, which this movie is. But it's 2.5 hours. I think they could have shaved easily 40 minutes, and it would have been made the same impact, if not more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe Christopher Nolan will dazzle us with something else in the future. Another decent movie of his, Dunkirk.
Oh, I always forget about that one.
I almost
Very recent.
look at. Yeah, that was a decent war film. I don't remember a lot of fighting though. I remember a lot of like sneaking around and kind of
Yeah.
just waiting around. But
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things, and it's also how many movies about that situation came out. There were like 3 movies about Dunkirk that year.
oh really?
Yeah. 2 of which played at my theater. And well, one was Darkest Hour came out that year
Oh
also,
man,
where
great film.
Dunkirk is involved in that as well.
Okay.
But I mean, well, yeah, I mean, it's a good film. It's not my favorite
Yeah.
war film, but it was a good film.
Yeah, it's decent. Visually stunning as always.
Yeah.
I
And
think
it kind of like doing a period piece kind of forced him to put out something with more of a narrative that was more straightforward.
yeah. That's why I think Batman Begins and The Dark Knight might be my favorite Nolan films because they're straightforward, they're interesting,
Yeah.
The acting is pretty good.
It's his writing that gets him in trouble.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's again very frustrating. But we'll see what he has to come up with in the future. Maybe I don't think he'll go back to the DC universe.
No. I mean, he went as far as telling them that they couldn't even use his version of Batman in the DCEU, which and then like produced some of them, which was like Man of Steel and stuff, which is
Right.
one of the first things wrong in my opinion. DCEU is that it should have been built off of those Batman movies,
Yeah.
regardless of what Christopher Nolan said. We should have at least had a Batman that, like, basically what they did with the Incredible Hulk, where the Ed Norton Incredible Hulk, it starts off
Rated
in the middle of whatever, basically telling you that last Hulk movie that nobody liked, the Ang Lee one,
Yeah.
is a prequel to this. It's the first half of this, but we don't need to talk about that.
Right.
We're over here already.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they should have done that with Batman and, whatever, instead of once again retelling his damn origin.
I think that Brandon Routh with a Christian Bale Batman would have been a perfect visually. That would have looked great.
Yeah.
And to a lesser extent, even Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern would have looked good compared to that.
I'm one of those guys who just hardcore loves the Green Lantern movie.
Oh, really?
everyone shits on it. I rewatched it again. Like, I think it was the first thing I watched on HBO Max.
Oh, wow. I gotta go back to that. The only thing my only real criticism, I love Ryan Reynolds, but it was his suit. Like, if it was like practical effects instead of
the CGI is terrible.
That was on his body.
No, a lot of the CGI is garbage.
Yeah.
But I thought the casting in the film was great.
Yeah. Mark Strong as Sinestro.
Holy, like,
perfect.
You could not make a more perfect Sinestro, and it makes me so mad because it's like we're never gonna get that again. Although rumor mill has it that Ryan Reynolds was doing reshoots for this Snyder cut.
Oh, really?
As Green Lantern.
Ooh,
so
interesting. Well, you know what?
If we could get Sinestro also, I'd be happy.
I mean, that might be tricky because we did have Mark Strong as the villain in Shazam.
Oh, that's true.
So, I don't know if
Oh yeah. He was also very good in that.
Yeah. That's a good movie. That's a fun
I love Mark Strong.
Hey, Matt, so we only have like a couple minutes left. Just wanted to do plugs. What's going on with Cult Cafe this week?
This Saturday, we are showing Next Stop Greenwich Village, which is from 1976, and it's got a bunch of cool actors in it for very early on in their careers. You have Jeff Goldblum's in it, Vincent Schiavelli.
Right.
It also contains the first film appearance of Bill Murray.
Wow.
So it's an interesting dramedy. So
first Bill Murray appearance.
Yeah.
I have to see this now.
So yeah.
All right.
Got a brief part in it, and then.
Cool. Also, I forgot to mention that Tenet is now available in select theaters and on 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, and digital services. So check that out. But go in, at your own risk, because it's a little trippy. But if you follow along, focus, and you might be okay. But I just want to thank my guest Matt Roren. As always, thank you for everything tonight. This was great as always. Hope to have you on again soon, sir.
I'm sure it will be next week or something.
Yeah, something. We'll talk more. But everyone watching at home and on your devices, thank you so much. This was great as always. I'm Randy Unger, and this has been Unger the Radar. We'll see you next week. Take care.